Today is Saturday, March 25th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 44, Week 4.
Week 4, and there's a lot of people that are still struggling, wrestling with this idea.
Wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay.
With this idea of production-provided fake idols. We are definitely going to hear from some folks about that this week, as well as all the goings-on with the twist, see what people thought about the twist with moving one person to a new tribe, and also giving them an immunity idol to go along with that. So a lot of good discussion in that vein. How many super fans decided to weigh in this week?
24.
24. It is a jam-packed show. Do we need to cover anything before we get started?
I do not believe so.
Let's jump right in. We've got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Wow, now this was to me. Now, I know that 90-minute premiere was awesome. To me, at this point in the season, this was the best episode of the season. So I'm going to let out a great big... Wow, jam-packed, and I gotta say, I was completely shocked when those three, Jamie, Carson, and Josh, went to, what do you call it, Shipwheel Island, whatever they call it now, and that they all not only had an idol, but it was, you could call it, I don't know, a mini tribe swap. And the only other season I remember something like that happening was back in China, when Aaron and James switched to that other team, and then Cherie and Frosty were on the other team as well. But wow, jam-packed. I do miss the tribe swap, but this was solid, though. And what happens? The dreaded purple team goes back to tribal. And honestly, guys, Invisible Josh has turned into a solid player. Not great, but solid. Now, they lie about him being a surgeon. I don't know how much more. It's not going to work, because you saw Jam reading right through it, and Sarah, and he's going to have to change that up a little. But, man, I give him credit, though, for working with Carolyn and getting her to flip. That woman, I don't know what to think of her. Now, she dodged a bullet because her idol, she still has her idol, which is real. Josh, of course, you knew had to play his idol, and thank goodness he played it on himself. That would have been ridiculous if he played it for Carolyn. Would have been a complete and total waste. And when we went home, Sarah, which I really am sad. I know one of you that it's Sarah as your USB, I think, and I'm sorry for you if that's true, because I thought Sarah had some game in her down the road. I think she could have laid low and done very good in the merge. And what happens, guys, another woman goes home. What's it, 4 in a row? I think that's the most since maybe going back to Fiji. But, man, that's crazy. I really thought it would be Carolyn or maybe even Jam, because Jam has lost trust, too. We'll see how it goes, guys. Only 3 on the purple team. With Carolyn, it's like a Denise Stapley. Not that she is Denise Stapley. Remember what happened that season when that tribe kept losing? So we'll see. And then the other teams, guys, I want to see how Carson does. I actually was hoping the orange team would lose, but they're just strong, because Brandyn, where they all stand, and Carson, Kane. Was Carson going to work with Kane, Matthew? Matthew took him under his wing, and where does that leave Lauren, who's now the only woman there? And then the green team now, Matt and Franny somehow are in a good spot with Danny, who I really like as a strategist there. That green team now redeemed themselves in a big way. They killed it in that challenge. But a lot to look forward to, guys, coming up. Great episode, guys. Woo!
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, Sarah said in one of her interviews that she, I guess it was in hindsight basically, that she pushed Josh too hard. Not only did she come at him about the being the surgeon thing, she said he had the, that medical staff. I hadn't noticed it. I can't remember what that's called. You know what I'm talking about? The snakes wound around it.
Yeah.
She said he had that tattooed on his back.
Oh.
Even. And she said she felt like she probably had pressed him too much, and so she didn't get that connection there. She also said that her and Carolyn never connected. They tried a few times, but it just wouldn't work. In fact, Carolyn was doing things to spite her. Bruce's sweatshirt was there, and they were trading it around to wear it at night for extra warmth. But she said Carolyn would go out of her way to make sure that Sarah couldn't wear it.
Ever?
Well, I don't know if she just never got to on the whatever it was, 8 or 9 nights she was there, but she said that she would give it to Carson when it was Sarah's turn.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland. Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all the other Survivor fans. This is the first time I've had a chance to submit feedback yet this season, but I've been following along with you all since Jabik. Fun season so far. A few things are a bit irritating, but as always, what matters most is the enjoyment we all get from watching and discussing the episodes every week. Exactly. Spot on there. I enjoyed the twist that the players who went on the journey switched tribes. That injected a bit of variety into the game that was enjoyable to see as Josh, Jamie, and Carson tried to find their place in their new tribes. I think Carson is in a good place with the new tribe mates, and it would be interesting to see if Josh and Carolyn end up aligning moving forward. I'm not sure how well Jamie will fit in with her new group. I could possibly see her teaming up with Danny and Heidi to vote out Matt or Franny. I'm not enjoying the presence of a ridiculous number of immunity idols and fake idols in the game. Aside from the birdcage idols, we had the 3 given to the players who switched tribes along with the advantages given on the previous journey, and I'm sure there will be plenty more to come. I feel it dilutes the power and meaning of having an idol or advantage if there are so many floating around at any given time. It was exciting when it was a big deal. When a player found or played an idol, now it's pretty much expected nearly every episode. It's also much less exciting for me that production makes and hands out fake idols. It was much more fun when players thought of it themselves and created them from found materials. I did like how Carolyn planted her fake idol and how Sarah found it so sneakily right in camp and that no one knew she had it. Oh, Sarah also said, this is a good point to mention this, that was hidden right where Sarah slept. So she put it so Sarah would find it. She was definitely setting her up. Okay, back to Mary. I was surprised that she didn't play it at Tribal Council. She must have felt very secure in the plan that she, Jam Jam, and Carolyn had to vote for Josh with Carolyn as the decoy. I will be interested to listen to her exit interviews and learn more about what she thought as she watched the episode and learned that hers was a fake. Good for Carolyn for not quietly accepting that she'd be the decoy vote and making other plans that suit her game better. I saved the best for last. I finally got a vote out point.
Yay.
Congrats. It has been so hard to predict what will happen with tribe dynamics with all the changes in the game these past few seasons. For next week, I'm thinking possibly Matthew, Jamie, or Jam Jam might go. Looking forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. Thanks, Mary. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback for Season 44, Island of the Idols. That is the theme for this season, right? With so many real idols and fake idols floating around. I must say, Paul must be having to work overtime to keep the roster up to date and keep everyone squared away on what different type of advantages are floating around and who's in possession of real, fake idols, or both at this time. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty good episode overall. I actually had the right tribe picked to go to Tribal Council for once this season, so I had a chance for a vote-off point. I had Josh as my vote-off, so of course when I saw that he was given an immunity idol, I knew my chances of getting a vote-off point were basically zero, especially the fact that it was an immunity idol with an expiration date on it, so I think the chances of him not playing that idol were approaching zero, maybe 0.0001%, especially when you're joining such a small tribe. So given that and sort of Carolyn's deteriorating relationship with Jam Jam, I was not really that surprised to see her sort of switch sides there and go with Josh. And I think it makes sense because Josh was going to play his idol. He was going to be safe. So in order to keep yourself safe, you either play an idol or you basically join with Josh and try to vote someone else off and keep yourself safe while keeping your idol. So I think Carolyn may have made the right decision, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But I think Jam Jam's definitely in trouble next week. And it's kind of weird with these small tribes. And obviously the merge is approaching soon. So I think the game is in a bit of chaos right now. And it's hard to predict over these next two episodes what's going to happen. But I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. And that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got an email from Brandyn in Indiana.
Sorry for missing the deadline last week to participate in the show. I still listened about an hour after release and enjoyed hearing what everyone thought of episode 3. But Claire made a mistake early on, and Franny and Heidi couldn't overlook it in voting her out. So while I was off by 3 weeks, I feel like my prediction came true in that tarot card small town Miss Cleo sort of way.
Okay.
On to episode 4. The swap threw me a bit, but I couldn't help but feel disappointed that so much time was devoted to something where the players didn't have much agency.
Yeah, we should change the name of that to No Choice Island.
Okay. But little Peter Parker joining with my USB Matthew as puzzle beasts would be a lot of fun, but something tells me they may end up on opposite ends of things sooner rather than later. Plant Mommy moves to the Green Tribe and could be in trouble with her one real, one fake idol situation, but if she's smart, she picks up on the solo women of the two other tribes at the next challenge and convinces Heidi and Fran to make a women's alliance with their fake idol meat shield in rebound champion Dennis Rodman, also known as Matt. Josh is the most curious to me. As everyone pointed out with his backstory preseason, I expected more of a spotlight on him, but suddenly he's part of a 3-person tribe with potentially feuding partners. He just might make it a distance in this one just yet, but I'm not willing to bet a fake idol on it, which, if you've seen the quality of the idol drop like I did, jumping from season 30 to now in one swoop, these fakes ain't worth much. String, some pocket lint, and a penny you ran through one of those gear press machines at museum gift shops. My predictions continue to fail me in JSFL, but the next time on Survivor made me worry about my USB Matthew the Barber Beefcake's longevity. Keep up the great work with the podcast. I look forward to Wednesdays so much more, knowing Thursday means a new pod discussing the show, and then the weekend brings what the rest of the superfans think. P.S. Stacy, I appreciated the lesson on Take a Walk. Are there any other Survivor code words I should know to be able to decode these exit interviews? All right. Thanks, Brandyn.
Can you think of anything? That producer that's on Prope's podcast, she mentioned one of the location codes, Coconut Grove. That's basically the poop spot on land.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that comes to mind. The taking a walk for when they're doing a confessional was what Brandyn was referring to. No, I got nothing. You?
No, just that when they are headed toward the Coconut Grove, the cameras don't go with them.
Okay.
That's a signal to them that, oh, okay. They said, however, if you go there with someone, the camera goes with you.
They don't trust you.
That's right. They're like, yeah, you can go there, but we're going with you. And we did see, I forget which season it was and which two guys it was, but I remember it seems like one of them was Jason, the young kid with the stick, so it could have been Micronesia. Anyway, that there were two guys urinating, and they had them on camera. I mean, they didn't show the urination. Well, I do.
Okay.
I thought, okay. So I guess they mean it. If you go there with somebody, we're going, camera goes with you.
Well, there you are. That's all we got for that. Thanks, Brandon. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu. What a fun episode that was. I was really excited to kind of see Carolyn coming into her own. She did a really good job. She hid that she was involved really well. Nobody is considering her because I feel like they've kind of written her off as, oh, she's just Carolyn, she's wacky. But she did a great job setting up the fake idol. Now, when we went into a challenge 5 minutes into the show, I was a little wary, like, okay, why is this so early? Okay, it's a reward for tarps. What else is going to happen? And then they were like, oh, but here's the twist. Pick your new tribe. I was, okay, this is kind of brilliant. I really loved the twist because it really does shake up the whole game. They've made all these relationships on their tribes, and that's all gone now. And for someone like Josh, who is on the chopping block, maybe it's a good thing to go on a new tribe. And somebody like Carson, who was, sitting pretty, maybe it's going to be a challenging thing to go on a new tribe. And I just thought it was really cool. I loved everybody's reaction to a new person coming to their tribe. When Carson got to Ratu, he kind of did great, and he got really in with Matthew right away, and Matthew immediately took him on as a protege, sold out Jamie, was, yeah, you and I are going to work together. Tika, not really buying Josh's story. He still seems to be on the edge of the tribe as he was on his other one. Jamie and Soku, they seem to like her a lot, but they do go through her bag right away. Oh, an aside about Danny, in the first challenge, anybody catch his flips? He was flipping it out, getting off, going through the part of the challenge with the net. He just flipped himself over. I thought that was really cool. So different dynamics all around. I loved it. Okay, we go to the next challenge. Tika loses again. And then I just got confused. Joanne, I was like, okay, is this real? Or is this just a big show for Josh? All of a sudden, Carolyn and Yam Yam are fighting? Is it authentic? We've only seen them hugging and laughing and being buddy-buddy up until this point, but my USB Yam Yam was super rude, and kudos for her for saying, I don't think so. I love that she and Josh decided to play together. I thought it was a mistake when he said he would play his idol for her, and I was really hoping he wouldn't, but it was really great gameplay. Twice in this episode, Carolyn showed us she's not going to go out without a fight, and she was able to manipulate the tribe with the help from Josh, and Sarah's out. And Jam Jam is completely shocked. His mouth is on the floor. Oh, and I only got one question wrong on my final exam. I got a 98.75.
Nice.
Currently, my average in the class is a 98. And I am awaiting the grading of 4 papers I wrote to find out what my final grade is. It could be absolutely fantastic, or she could hate everything I wrote, and it could be terrible. So I'd like her to grade my papers already. I really want to know what my final grade is. But how about that? 80 questions? Only got 1 wrong. And it's kind of a trick question. All right, you guys have an amazing week. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. And I am off to ride my bike on North Shore. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Congrats on your testing there. Hope your papers come back in your favor.
Talking about Danny doing flips, he does flips in camp. We've seen him on the trail,
Somersaults,
doing
yeah.
And then he did it on the nets, and he did it into the water.
Yep.
Jeff gave him an 11.
Yes, he's a flipping fool, although he came really close to belly flopping on that.
He did. It didn't look like an 11 to me, but he obviously just loves to do that.
Mm-hmm. And can. That's the impressive part. Does it well. Another thing Sarah mentioned in the interviews was that she could tell, everyone could tell that Carolyn had a deep knowledge of the game. So they weren't underestimating her knowledge of Survivor, and Sarah knew that Carolyn had played lots of online Survivor games too.
Well, and there's an extra clip out there showing Carolyn and Sarah talking about them not connecting. And Sarah saying, well, it doesn't have to stay that way.
Yeah, Sarah did say in her interview she tried multiple times to make a connection with Carolyn, but it just wasn't happening.
Well, and Carolyn told her she's not used to people who hold back their emotions. And I think that was the main reason for her lack of trust of Sarah, is that she didn't show emotions. And Sarah basically said, no, that's my whole family's that way.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. She's like, I only hug my brother about once every 5 years. And then, of course, Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Sarah all hugged. And
Yeah, there's like a forced hug at the end.
Yeah, and Sarah's like smiling. But I thought...
Your initial response was, that's a grimace.
That just looks like a grimace to me. Like, oh, I have to hug these people.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was an interesting video.
Yeah, so Carolyn can't connect because she can't relate to how Sarah holds things in.
Well, no,
And
it's
that's
not that she can't relate. She does relate because she said she held it in most of her life, but she has vowed never to do that again.
My point is that Sarah manages her business differently, and that's
Yes.
what Carolyn cannot relate to.
Exactly.
Which is ironic because a lot of people couldn't relate to someone like Carolyn because
Puts it all out there.
Yes. Yeah. In her quest to be her most authentic self.
And that's what she does for a living, is to draw people out and have them not keep things in.
I like the irony that she couldn't recognize the difference. Good deal. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Jessie.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. This is Jessie calling in again. I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I saw Carolyn with the fake idol and putting those red vines. I mean, that is just the most bizarre, original thing ever. Like, how did she come up with these things? What I love about it is just that the fake idol has played out so differently on every single tribe. We've just seen something totally different happen, different tactic. So that just keeps things really interesting. I was really disappointed in Josh when he got swapped to his new tribe. He is just such a bad liar. I mean, they all knew that he was lying, and I think that lack of authenticity really comes across, and that's probably why he was on the outs in his original tribe and on his new tribe. I think first prize is if you can just be authentic and open, but if you're going to lie, at least think through your story, have a convincing lie, Of course, you're going out there and living with these people. They're definitely going to quiz you on your life. You need to have your story down. Yeah, and then I was also disappointed in Yam Yam, the way that he kind of presented his plan to make Carolyn the decoy vote and vote out Josh. He was just super not nice about it and go, well, I'm the biggest threat and we're going to put you as the decoy, and I know you're not going to be happy about it, but that's just the way it is. That's not the way to speak to an ally. And I mean, it didn't work for him because Caroline turned on him. So that was kind of poor play by Yam Yam, I think. And I was surprised that Carolyn didn't actually end up voting him out instead of Sarah. But I think that in general, I think Carolyn and Yam Yam do have a better, deeper connection than the one that she had with Sarah. So even despite her kind of being mad at Yam Yam, she kept him in so that she could take Sarah out. And, kudos to her, because if she had been the decoy and Josh had voted for her and played his idol, she would have been going home. So honestly, good on her for making that connection with Josh and switching the vote to Sarah. And I'm really excited to hear what everyone has to say. It's always super interesting. So, yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jessie. Good job.
And we still got to give it to Carolyn. She hasn't told anybody she has an idol.
Yes, that part she seems to be managing well. Yeah, Sarah didn't mention anything about knowing that.
Had thought maybe she told Jam Jam because they seem so close. But obviously, I was wrong about that.
Well, we don't know that, though.
Well, I mean, wrong about them being that close.
Yeah.
But,
well, they're showing Jam Jam's sides that don't support them. They're not showing Caroline's. That tells you something about how the edit's going, too.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Jessie. Next up, we got an email from Lisa Rae in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Hello, Joanne and Stacey. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Lisa Rae, a proud Canadian living in the United Arab Emirates. I am a faithful listener to your show, and I look forward to listening to the podcast every week. I call in a few times called in a few times in previous seasons, but haven't done so for the last 2 or 3. This year, I decided to join the JSFL and even put my name in for the side challenge. I seem to be getting pretty comfortable in the basement. Thank you for that. I chose Kane as my USB in a fit of Canadian pride, and am already feeling like my poor singing Sasquatch may not have been the best choice, but we'll see. What a fun episode this one was. I can't believe how many idols are in play now, and add to them all the fake idols. It has been fun watching how Danny and Matthew tricked people into thinking they found a real one, and this time it was Carolyn's turn. On a side note, it bemuses me that Carolyn is never a suspect in the tribe when suspicious things happen. In the immunity challenge, I felt Lauren's belly flop. That looked so painful, and I was glad Ratu was able to eke out the win. I chose Josh to go home, but when he got that immunity idol, I went and bought more snacks and a blanket for the side challenge basement. However, without that idol, the swapped person would for sure be voted out. I had a tiny flicker of hope when he said that he would play the idol for Carolyn, but I didn't really think he'd do that. I wonder if Carolyn completely burned the bridge between her and Jam Jam. I don't think that writing Sarah's name was a good move on her part, but we'll see. With next time on Survivor, I'm thinking that Matthew may be going home because of his shoulder. That would be sad for him, but it's better than doing irreparable damage by continuing to play. That's all from me for now. I look forward to hearing all your feedback. I may not call or write in next week as I'm off to Thailand on vacation.
Woohoo!
We'll see. I know I'll have to find a way to watch the episode, that's for sure. Take care. Thanks, Lisa Rae. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in. Did you notice the show opening with the Survivor logo in a fish tank? I thought that was a good analogy of the game. Everything is on display, cameras everywhere. Carolyn is now turning into one of my favorite players. She took initiative to hide the fake idol and worked with Josh to blindside Sarah. She wants to play her own game and not be treated as a dumb blonde. But I want to talk more about fake idols. Do we know for sure that Carolyn didn't get mixed up and hide the wrong idol? Maybe Sarah did find the real idol. I was hoping Sarah would play her idol at the tribal council to see if it was real or fake. And doesn't Brandyn still have a fake idol? And is he wearing it around his neck? We're going to have to wait and see. A lot of fake idols out there. And it's actually a little confusing, but a lot of fun. Okay, I noticed at the reward challenge that there was no reaction from the other teams that Claire had been voted off. I guess everyone thought that was an obvious choice. I like the twist of the 3 people who went on the journey switching tribes and getting an immunity idol, even though only temporary. That just seemed fair. Josh was very wise in using his idol at tribal council. Well, going back to the immunity challenge, I felt so bad for Lauren as she belly flopped from the 3-meter platform. That had to hurt. So I don't blame her for not going back to try again. I was surprised that Ratu was able to get second place because of Brandon's efforts to swim all the way back to the beginning and do the challenge for Lauren. Good job, Brandyn. Unfortunately, Tika sent back to tribal council. At tribal council, Carolyn's eye rolls and faces she would make during tribal were obvious to everyone, and the camera loved it. But Jam Jam's open mouth look of shock as Sarah was voted out was the exclamation point on the show. That's it for now. Looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say.
Thanks, Boother. Yeah, we got confirmation that Sarah's idol was fake in the exit interviews. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. I don't have much to say this week, and I lost my notes. So, wow, I just filled 5 seconds. It was a good episode. I liked it, and I like the way Carolyn is really blossoming as a crazy player, now that I know her name. After their little shipwreck island, when Carson, the Harry Potter character, came back, he had his orange buff on his arm. and he was waving his arm around, and it looked like his hand was stuck in a bag of nacho cheese Doritos. To me, anyway, you never point a gun at anybody, and you don't hand a knife or a sword to somebody so they grab the blade. But I guess this is just how we do it on Survivor. And with the shield, when he's giving it to the second winning tribe, he ought to just throw it like a Frisbee. That would be fun. Joanne and I lost a safe point. And I guess I have you to thank for my season going forward, because I really liked Sarah and I wanted to pick her. You made such a good case for her. I knew a lot of people would be picking her. So I went with Jamie. Oh, that Lionel Richie song. Jamie, J-U, J is for always. Stay, you'll make it through. J-U, Jamie, not just the final two, because you're my USB. Have a great week, everybody.
That's a great parody.
Not quite how I remember the song, but yeah, that is great.
Good job, Chris. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
Hello, Survivor fans. I must admit that I haven't listened to any of the podcasts yet this season, but so far I'm enjoying the season quite a bit. I still don't really care for Carolyn, but I must admit she's doing a pretty decent job out there, and I like how she took matters and the vote into her own hands and didn't just follow along with the plan to always use her as the decoy vote. Carolyn was pretty strategic when it came to the fake idol and adding the X marks the spot clue to it. The jungle treks in the past were pretty simple, but this time around it was anything but simple. The tribe swapping did catch me by surprise, but Jeff did kind of hint at it during the reward challenge. I feel like it makes sense to have Josh, Carson, and Jamie automatically gain an immunity idol right before the swap, with how most of the old Tika tribe and now possibly Jam Jam catching on to Josh's lies. I don't know about how secure he actually is right now, but I still like him as a player. Speaking of challenges, it was actually pretty neat to see 2 challenges again pre-merge. That tribal was crazy, and I think Jam Jam did make a mistake when talking about the one person who referred to Carolyn, and she did not let that go easily. As for my unofficial side challenge placing, I currently have 17 points. For the next episode, I feel like we might be getting another evacuation in Matthew based on the preview shown. I hope to catch up with the podcast and all of you soon. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we have a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. I literally this second remembered that Saturday afternoon, and I think I'm barely under the timeline, or the deadline, excuse me. So I did watch the episode. I swear Kane is that player this season that I'm just going to keep picking to go until the week he actually does go, and that's the week I'll have him safe. So I feel like he is absolutely, his tribe is just waiting until they lose, and then he'll be the one. But I did not know what to expect this episode. Yeah, a couple of challenges. It was exciting. I think I'm on Team Carolyn right now. Okay, she's a little bit crazy. My son Charlie was watching with me even, and she's crazy. She's cuckoo. And she is kind of cuckoo, but and in a way kind of volatile, and so it's kind of a tricky kind of a line to walk. But I like, as far as Jam Jam versus Carolyn, I'm Carolyn all the way. I think that he is not very reliable. I don't think I would want to really work with him because I don't think that he is someone I could really trust. So plus, I think he's kind of the self-importance was a little bit there. So, but I think she's kind of clever. I think she's kind of crazy, but I think that can work as long as you can maintain and manage it a little bit. And I think that all things considered, I think she's been doing really well. So, Sarah, I actually was kind of sorry because I had her face. I picked all the young pretties that as I was going down the list, that was my criteria this week, and she fit that criteria, but I wasn't too sorry. I'm only kind of sorry that this is one of those times I think that the interview would be really, really nice if you two were able to speak with her, because I want to know what it was like when she realized that the idol was fake. Was she relieved, or was she like, no, I still wish I had played it, except then she would have been like way more stressed out when she realized it was fake. So here's my thing about those fake idols, okay? A fake idol is one thing, but when it's a fake idol facilitated by the show, I think that is kind of crossing a line, and I'm still kind of formulating my thoughts on this, but it makes me kind of uneasy when they give them a fake idol. Not just that, but they give them like official documentation of a real idol so that they can wrap the fake idol in that, because I think it's a little bit underhanded. And I think that a fake idol is one thing. If you trick someone, you earn that. Good for you. But if production gives you a parchment printed with the font, with the text and everything, I don't know. I think that it kind of makes it, I don't want to say unfair. It just gives it kind of an edge that why would you not think that's real? You have every reason to expect that it's real. So anyway, it's something that made me a little bit uneasy. I was glad that she didn't discover that, because although it would be amazing TV for her like peace of mind and just the proxy embarrassment. I hope everyone's having a good weekend. I will talk to you soon, and yeah, bye.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, Sarah did mention that. She had a similar reaction upon finding out that it was fake, in that she said in one of the interviews, well, actually it was in a couple of them, she said if they give you an ace and it looks like an ace, and then you play it thinking that you got a full house, and then someone says, nope, that's not an ace, then she found that difficult to deal with, although she wasn't put off overall by the the use of in the play of the fake idols in that sense.
Did they give an extra parchment, or did they use the one they got for their real idol?
They used theirs, and that's
okay.
Which is exactly like, and this is a good question for you, Drew. How do you reconcile it in Matthew's case? And well, he did make one, but then he used his real parchment with the fake one that he made. So to me, that's equivalent in terms of its ability to baffle you and make you think that it's real.
Yeah, there's no way.
That's kind of a wash, I think, in the end, in that respect.
Well, yeah, you can't blame anyone for thinking it's real.
When you see the parchment, of course,
yeah. Because we've seen that over and over and over again. That's what it says.
Yes, it's quite effective. Yep, thanks, Drew. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy and Survivor fans. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, goodbye, Felicia or Sarah. We hardly knew you. All I can remember is that you lost a vote, and then when you got it, you had the inheritance idol and a fake idol, and in the end, you didn't play the fake idol, so obviously you were pretty complacent. The only ones you seemed aligned with were Helen and then Carson, and both of them are gone. So I just wonder if you ever made an effort to try to work with Carolyn. And as for complacency, I'm looking at you, Jam Jam, and you're my USB. Why couldn't you have thrown your name out as the decoy vote instead of always making it be Carolyn? But it's obvious the tribe's been taking Carolyn for granted ever since the birdcage idol was rifled with, and everybody suspected everyone except for Carolyn. I do feel that Carolyn felt she was on the bottom, and I think if Carson hadn't been swapped and the team had lost, the three would have voted Carolyn out or tried to. Anyway, Jam Jam, your expression showed where you know you are right now, so you better get your act together or you're going to be the next one gone. And as for Invisible Josh, he stepped out of the shadows to become the tribe's new personal trainer, and he did something that I thought you should never do. He shared that information about his idol with Carolyn, but in this case, it was to his advantage. She did tell him that they were going to vote for him and play your idol, and I think he's stronger for it. Now, I have some questions. Why did SoCal pick Josh to go on the boat ride, especially since the four of them had already said they'd vote him out? Surely they knew he had the opportunity to come back with an immunity idol. When Josh, Carson, and Jamie went on their hike, how did production know they would end up with all different tribes? Like, what if one of them went to the path that led to their own buff? Was there more than one buff in each bag? Or I don't get it. I don't get how they worked it out that way. And so far, when it says get to know each other on these walks, we're not seeing anybody get to know anybody. Not like Liana and Shan did with their season, or Evie and Deshaun did on theirs. So are they talking, or is they're just not sharing important information? And I had to laugh when I realized that Tiny Tika is now the all LGBTQ tribe. I was waiting for its post-merge alliance, but we got a pride team right here, as dysfunctional as they are. Bye, Felicia. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
All right. Thanks, David. Yeah, the production definitely had to step in and put the buffs where they wanted them to. That was one of the things we were talking about afterwards, that they had to, because the parchment clearly said you're not going back to your tribe. You're going to a new tribe. Mm-hmm. So they had to stage another buff there. And I'm not sure that clip that we got where Danny and Heidi and Franny and Matt were so set on voting out Josh, if that was really what Danny and Heidi were planning, if the four of them were solid on that, and that might have played into giving Josh that advantage, because they were looking to get a leg up, something else that they could use in their alliance with Josh. Don't know, though. Didn't get any extra info on that.
Or maybe they wanted to have time to talk to each other, the two groups together while he was gone. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess that could have been an aspect of it, too. But like David's saying, you're risking Josh getting something that could
absolutely
really change his fate in the game.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Next up, we got an email from Rashmi in Perth. Dear Joanna, Stacy, and all my Survivor friends, this is the first time in all my years of being a part of this Survivor family that I'm not playing JSFL. When the Jabik shows came out, I was overseas. I came back and had a marathon session of catching up on 3 episodes. It feels really odd and incomplete not participating in JSFL. So far, I'm really not a fan of Carolyn. She comes across as a real cray-cray person. The amount of time we get seeing her, especially from the start of this season, is super annoying. Coming right after the Gabler win, if she wins this season, I'll have to bail on watching Survivor. Intelligent players and winners like Parvati, Sandra, and then this crazy lady. Ugh. Another gripe that I have this season is the planting of a plethora of fake idols. It is fun when the players make one and use it, but this, thanks to Paul's roster, I can keep track of all these and the no votes. Apologies for being such a negative Nancy. So far, I'm liking Carson and Josh. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Still miss playing JSFL. I'm coming to the U.S. for 2 months during your summer. I will finally get to see my younger son after 3 years and all the COVID lockdowns. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for this wonderful community of fans. Cheers. Thank you, Rashmi. Great to have you back here in the listener feedback show. Up next, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I'm gotta be honest, I really did not like this episode. I think that they messed up giving the people an idol, even though it's an expiring idol, which is great, that's good, because it's not as overpowered, but don't give them an idol. Like, yeah, it sucks to get swapped just you onto a new tribe. It's unfair, but Survivor's unfair. So, what have players been having to do since the very beginning of Survivor? What does Jeff say? 16 people marooned on an island. They have to adapt or they'll be voted out. So you have to adapt. That's what you have to do. You have to use your social game. You have to find the cracks. You have to exploit the cracks. You have to manipulate these players. Guess what? I think this episode would have played out the same with or without Josh's idol. Because apparently, which we didn't see this, apparently there's a rift between Carolyn and Jam Jam. We didn't see that before this episode, but apparently it's there. Apparently Carson is the glue that's just holding this tribe together. Sarah's already on the bottom. Josh has so many ways to integrate himself into this tribe. Who knows, maybe Carolyn plays her idol on him if he doesn't have one. We've already seen that Carolyn is a very irrational player, so who knows what the heck she's gonna do. I think you let the person play. Don't give them something that they can leverage, because then it becomes a cakewalk. And a lot of the times, these players have been waiting for something to change. They've wanted something new to happen so that they can act on this impulse to get this person out. That's where this swap person now becomes a very key part of this tribe, a very key part of this vote. They're not always screwed over. Sometimes they are, it's unfortunate, but sometimes they do have a lot of power without giving them power. Also, they edited this episode terribly. And last episode, apparently, because why? Last episode, was Danny fighting so hard to keep Josh in the game when this episode, he's expendable. They open this episode, they're all trashing on Josh. He thinks he's in a great spot. We didn't really see him being in the middle between these alliances last week. Seemed like he was about to go, but they wanted to save him. So they fought to save him. Okay, where'd that come from? What happened? What did I miss? Why did Sarah go? This whole episode, we've been seeing that Jam is in his head, like he's getting a big head, and Carolyn's gonna take him out. But then it's Sarah? That doesn't make a lot of sense. And yeah, where did this feud between Jam and Carolyn come from? We haven't seen that in any of the episodes at all. Even though we've gone back to this tribe several times when they haven't had a lot of play, so why don't we see that? I know they can't tell a complete story, but at least have the important parts of the story. I don't need you to manufacture excitement in your edit. Just tell me what's happening, because that's exciting. Survivor is an exciting game, especially when you can actually see the game happen. Not when you edit it in a way to make me excited because I don't know what happened. No, I want to see what happened. I want to know why people got voted out. I shouldn't have to listen to an exit interview to find out this stuff. Hopefully next week is better, but I will see you all next time.
All right. Thanks, Parker. Next up.
I wanted to say something before we move on, is that I really think that Jam would not want to be in the position, and he gave it to Carolyn mainly because he didn't trust Carolyn to present to Josh about getting rid of him.
About getting rid of Jam?
Yeah.
He didn't think Carolyn could pull that off. If he had chosen to take that role, he didn't trust Carolyn that she could pull it off and convince Josh. Right. I think that's why he felt like he had to do it. That's an interesting observation. I think there's probably something to that. Yeah, because the thing for me, I keep circling around is, how could I count on her? I just don't feel like I could ever count on her.
I wouldn't feel any better about him, I don't think.
I don't know. In Sarah's exit interview, she talked about how she had grown a lot closer to him and how he was so key to the entertainment level on their tribe. He was all the time cracking jokes and had them laughing constantly. And we've talked about the importance of that, to be able to entertain your tribe mates, and how sometimes they'll choose to keep you around for that very reason.
We've heard it over and over again.
And I don't get she made no mention of Carolyn's ability to do that or any of that role. So it was obviously it was a much colder relationship between those two. Thanks again, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. Man, I couldn't help but feel really bad for Sarah at the beginning of the episode when she dug up that fake idol. Albeit a moot point, as the episode progressed, we saw that she would ultimately get voted out. You know, when she dug up that idol, she just looked so elated and euphoric, and she had this look of salvation on her face, like she just knew in her heart that she'd be safe for a few more days out there. So it was pretty unfortunate that was all false. And I think going forward in Survivor, look, the production team loves incorporating fake idols into the game. They're going to put those fake idols out there. They're going to put those fake papers out there. It's not going to be like Bob Crowley on Gabon anymore when it comes to fake idols. So going forward, every future castaway needs to take with a grain of salt that any paper, any twist, any advantage that you come across could be completely phony.
Exactly.
Who's to say? It was a really cool way that they did a tribe swap this week, in my opinion. Normally, they rarely diverge from the norm of everyone drop your buffs. So I thought it was kind of cool to see that go down. I thought the idols were necessary. It would have been very hard to pull that tribe off and have those who swap tribes be in any safe position whatsoever immediately. So to give them that little temporary idol, I thought was the right thing to do along the twist. But yeah, I can't think of a time where they swapped tribes differently in recent memory. I remember we had like Palau, but that was kind of a different situation of just the utter domination of a tribe. Matthew is coming off as interesting to me right now because chaos and rumors are always fun in Survivor. Don't get me wrong. Any reality show, we live for the drama. But is it going to help him succeed the way he's trying to puppet master Carson? I mean, we already saw Carson's performance over on Tika be very much that of I'm the smallest here, but like I think I have the biggest ego and whatnot. So Carson's just not one to play, in my opinion. I don't know how effective it'll be for Matthew. I thought Carolyn stated it very as it was at Tribal Council. I'm glad that she called out Jam Jam because, you know, in the past couple of weeks, he really is starting to take on this role of the domineerer around camp, that he's like speaking for the whole tribe. He definitely had a little slip up, and he definitely was intending that like Carolyn was the one in his conversation to Jeff. Regardless, I think that he's got to tone it down a little bit if he wants to stay safe, but I think he's kind of toned it up too much already. I think he'll probably be an early merge vote out, unfortunately for him. He's fun, but, you know, shooting himself in the foot. I lost a safe point again in JSFL. Ooh. Nonetheless, the sky is still blue. These are just very basic statements. No, not my season. Not my season. I thought the random number generator idea that Kim brought up last week would be fun. And, yeah, don't try it out. It'll be fun for week 1, but probably not after that. Joanne and Stacy, Survivor fans, I'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, Cameron. I think Cameron really hit the nail on the head. The game has changed.
Yep.
These hyper-realistic fake idols are there. You need to be suspicious of everything going forward. And that's what we're all wrestling with. We're dealing with a change.
Yeah.
It has occurred. This is the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I still don't like them giving them the material to make the fake idols. You know, that...
You don't? Or
no,
you don't,
I don't
like them giving them the actual production-made fake idol?
Yes, I don't like that.
Okay, because that's different than giving them the material.
I like what Matthew did. Mm-hmm. The material is out there on things that they receive, messages, tree mail, different things. They can gather things, and as long as nobody notices. But they should be noticing every single item that comes into camp.
Yeah.
And if they see it on an idol.
Sarah said that was another reason she thought it was real at the time, because the fake one she received had a glass bead on it, and she said there was nothing out there like that, and so that was super convincing to her.
Okay. See?
Thanks, Cameron. Next up, we got an email from Shahin in Australia.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hope you and the Survivor fans are all well. I both forgot and didn't have much to add for last week, apart from to say I thoroughly enjoyed seeing the vulture-like VC and Claire depart. Oh, how sweet. This week's twist was good, but the outcome brought me back to my significant dislike and fear of what 3 tribes bring to the game. At least with 2 tribe survivors, you could perform a 2 to 3 tribe split, and it'd be a better spectacle with a generally even split. This twist has unfortunately dwindled the tribe down to a dangerous number early in the game at 3, and my fear is if they go down to 2, and how easy it would be for the other tribes to pick the rest of Tika off, especially when the other 2 tribes are 5 strong. I think even at 3-5-5, it feels problematic, and there's no good solution until the week after 13 being odd and all. Jam Jam made a significant error in that sent me into distress mode, as he's my winner pick. I think we're seeing a medical exit next week with Matthew, agreed, and maybe that puts Carson in a difficult position without that relationship built with Matthew in the short amount of time we've seen on screen. I'm not sure if it was brought up or seen as I listened to the podcast at 2 a.m. straight after my surprise birthday dinner.
Happy belated birthday.
But did you both see Carolyn touch and seemingly converse and laugh with Josh after Tribal as they walked with their torches? I thought this was a huge Survivor no-no, and it's happened twice now.
Yeah, previous week with Jam Jam.
We did note that.
Yep.
Do we think production has warned her beyond this point, or are they tolerating it as something she cannot rectify on a neurological level?
I think there's another third option, is they're tolerating it because it's Carolyn.
Yeah.
Look at how they started the whole season.
And nobody's complaining. I better wrap it up before it hits 3 a.m. here, but thanks for all that you do. Excited to hear from the rest. Cheers. All right, thanks, Shahin. Up next, we have a call from Tim.
Hey, Survivor fans. Tim from Connecticut here. I'm getting ready to DM my party through a deserted island this Sunday, and there's a bunch of undead things that are waiting for them trapped in an old abandoned abbey. It's going to be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, over on another island, Danny's been doing his signature forward roll every time he goes anywhere. Man, I can't wait to see him get a critical fail on that. Speaking of fails, his investigation check wasn't so great, was it? Pickpockets are usually something that rogues can do well, but perhaps there's nothing there, though, to find. Hey, Carolyn's sounds have sort of made a little more sense to me. She's really struggling with something. I can't tell. In her real life, she's chaotic good, I would think, but out here, she's playing chaotic evil. Kind of reminds me of Gollum. Now, I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but she does exhibit some of that dual personality for sure. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I just can't unsee that we've got a couple of dwarfs in our game here. Jam Jam and Matthew are both dwarfs with those big bushy beards. Yeah. And actually, both of them are only missing their gigantic pair of barber shears, and they're just like Gimli or any other dwarf out of the Tolkien series. Matthew finally found a good use for the True Strike cantrip, one of the worst spells in D&D. In that immunity challenge, he got a critical hit on his first try. Must have felt great. I'm really shocked he didn't try to renew his blood pact with Jamie while they were both on the sit-out bench. Maybe they weren't close enough to do that, but that's a move I really wish he would keep using. Speaking of moves, Jamie's magic wand seems to be her best move. I wonder which spell she's been using. To make someone do something you want, usually it's a suggestion spell or a charm spell. Perhaps she's not a druid after all, but a wizard who knows a lot about nature so that she can gather alchemy supplies. Either way, she's chaotic cheerful, and that's sort of annoying to some, but I'm enjoying her gameplay.
I like that.
Brandyn the Bard is very adept at challenges. Was that a misty step right across that balance beam? Okay, so not quite a teleport, but an impressive balance beam performance the first time, to say the least. We'll let it slide on the second time when he was a little winded. And at Tribal Council, I think there was some pretty intense acting going on. Maybe I'm wrong, but Jam Jam's face when the second vote for Sarah came up didn't really strike me as surprise so much as, oh, Jam Jam, act surprised. Perhaps that was the plan all along and just try to keep Josh comfy? I don't know. Well, all of this has me thinking of a way to play Survivor as a TTRPG. Stacy, you in? Until next week, everyone.
Oh, I've thought about that several times. There was a card-based Survivor game, and it's actually got stats on it for each of the players, kind of like D&D. So I still think there might be something there. I've fooled around with it a few times, but I couldn't get it to spark. But yeah, I think that's a potential. That's a possibility. Thanks, Tim. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jade.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade from Hawaii. Aloha. Christine, my mom, is just exhausted from her week at work, and we just watched the show. It's Friday night, and we just finished it, so I told her, I'll take care of feedback this week. You can just rest. I'm at the end of my spring break, so I've got some more energy. And we actually both got a vote out point this week.
Congrats.
Very proud of that. And the reason we got a vote out point is really because of my dad. He doesn't even watch the show, but Mom was asking him, like, who should I put for my vote out? And he said, just put that girl Sarah. She looks like she doesn't know how to play. So with no real experience or interest in the show, my dad was able to pick the vote out. So we may be asking him more of his opinion, even though he doesn't watch, just because he might get us more points in the fantasy league. But that just goes to show how much of a crapshoot the vote out is. I mean, it's so hard to tell what's going to happen in the next episode. Again, I wish this episode were longer. I think we all wish these episodes were longer. This one in particular, though, because with 2 challenges plus a journey, it just felt so rushed. Like, the challenges were great. We didn't get to see a lot of tribe time, and we wanted more of that because of the swap. And the swap is great. I'm glad they're mixing it up a little bit. I would have still liked them to just go to 2 complete different tribes and even up the numbers, but it was still fun to mix it up. But we don't even know what Carson, Jamie, and Josh shared with each other because they didn't show us any of that. So I don't know. We always want more, of course. And I have to admit, Carolyn is growing on me despite me feeling very annoyed at her in the first episode, which I know the editors are doing on purpose. They're doing a very good job of this. They're just making her so endearing, at least to me. And for me, the reason is because she is playing well. She's actually doing interesting things. She is coming up with strategies, and she is doing things like with the fake idol. It's just, it's fun, basically. But Mom did point out when we were watching that she could have just voted for Josh so that she could have kept Jam Jam's trust, and then Josh still would have voted for Sarah and played the idol for himself, and it would have been fine. She could have just told Josh, look, I have to vote for you to trick Jam Jam or whatever. But so it wasn't maybe the smartest thing for her to write Sarah's name down, but it still worked out for them. I'm enjoying watching it, and I'm enjoying listening to everyone's feedback each week. And I also am really enjoying your show, Joanne and Stacey, your recap show, and I'm going to go listen to that right now since I haven't had the chance to do that yet. Bye, everybody.
Excellent. Thanks, Jade. Look forward to when you can team back up with your mom, Christine.
I think Carolyn probably put Sarah's name down, number one, because she wanted to make a stand and be on record, as this was my decision.
Yes.
And not yours.
I think that more than anything, in the sense that if she were to get to the end, she wants to be one of those folks that can say,
yes,
I was on the right side of this vote, this vote, this vote, and this vote.
And number two reason would be to show her loyalty to Josh, and that she'll do what she says she will.
Because you think, therefore, to Jade's question, what she was highlighting was that her allegiance has shifted away from Jam Jam.
I believe it has.
She won't vote him out for snoring, but she will vote him out for being bossy.
For telling her what to do over and over.
Yeah. Thanks, Jade. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, with each vote out, more of the remaining players get less purple. However, I'm hoping that Dr. Will stays very purple next week. One medevac per season is more than enough. My other observations. Carolyn is definitely strategic, as ex-player Sarah now knows. Welcome to Oprah Island. You get an idol, and you get an idol, and you get an idol. Most players hope to leave a legacy, but Sarah took hers with her. The tribes played for tarps. Tika was hoping for earplugs for Jam Jam's snoring. With Claire gone, Soka's Franny got a turn on the sit-out bench. Fireman Danny is a tumbleweed disguised as a human. Is it me, or were those tight close-ups of targets being hit obviously staged? They very well could have been. Yeah, and you can bet that challenge took a lot longer.
Yeah,
than,
I'm sure it
than
took a long time.
they showed. I mean, significantly, because they were at such different ranges. I wanted to see the person behind it that was flipping the flag up when it hit. I seriously doubt that they actually had a mechanism that was pressure sensitive to do that. Maybe, but I bet you there was someone out there behind those.
That would be weird.
Matthew exchanged his sling for a slingshot. Jamie is a magical fairy. She waves her wand and her wishes get granted. The sign said to be mindful of what you share. Duh, this is Survivor, right? The producers may do Carson or Jamie dirty if the tribes live on one beach pre-merge. Yep. And you got to think that's going to happen given how that was worded. Josh's lie about not being a surgeon died on the operating table. It didn't seem to work at all. The 3 new idols expire when everyone is living on one beach. With 13 players left, that could happen at any time. Indeed. Maybe even the next episode.
Yeah.
With his poor bag-searching skills, it's good that Danny doesn't work for the TSA. It didn't take Tika long to figure out that Josh's timeline used Culpeper math. That's perfect. That's a fantastic historical reference. Thanks to the swap, Plant Daddy Matthews' cultivation of Jamie bore no fruit. Danny has a book, but there are no morals in his story. Jamie thinks she's sitting pretty with 2 idols, but one is pretty fake. Sword or no, Lauren's wimpy battle cry isn't very intimidating. Yeah, that was disappointing. It made a great image, though. Carson needed every one of his 145 pounds to hammer those puzzle pieces into place. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen anyone jump on them like that.
Yeah.
I may be a plush moose, but even I can jump higher than Lauren. No doubt. Jeff's sorry for you was definitely a case of sorry, not sorry. When she talked with Josh, Sarah channeled William Shatner. If Jam Jam doesn't close his mouth soon, birds will nest in it. Sarah wanted a magical happy ending. The survivor gods made her disappear. I wonder who decided which new buff color Carson, Jamie, and Josh got. Thanks to Carolyn, Felicia turned out to be Sarah. Franny practices mindfulness. She needs to be mindful of Jamie's idol. Jam Jam, no offense, and it was a joke. Don't excuse an insult. Bless your heart. Carolyn keeps pulling down on her face. If she makes final 3, her lip will be on the ground. Sarah said she joins a group of sad, sad people. Maybe they'll throw her a pity party. Next time, Matthew sheds tears of pain and everyone shares with Carson. Will Matthew's fall from grace end with a medevac? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh. Good job, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. I think it must have been Carson that was holding the Carolyn and Jam Jam Carson trio together, because as soon as he left, suddenly Carolyn's voting against Jam Jam. I don't think he was managing her very well, and she's such that chaotic sort of personality that he needed to be checking in with her every 5 minutes to make sure that she was still on track, and not name her again as the decoy vote. That just wasn't going to do him any favours. I think he's a little bit arrogant, that he expects everyone to do what he wants to do, and Caroline just didn't want to do that. But Caroline didn't have to do what she did. She didn't have to vote for Sarah because she would have been going home anyway, Sarah, just based on Josh's vote. She did what she had to do to get Josh to play his idol on himself. But Sarah would have been going home anyway without Caroline's vote. And now she's sort of forced herself to align with Josh, who's at the bottom of his tribe. But she hasn't won herself any extra people in her alliance. I've decided that I don't like the manufactured fake idols. I don't know. I just don't think it's fair to give the players the ability to give somebody an idol that looks exactly like the actual immunity idols with the piece of paper. It just and there's just too much going on out there now with all these idols getting around, whether they be fake or not. I do hope that the inheritance, the advantage, I hope that comes back. I really wanted to see how that one plays out. I hate seeing people go through other people's bags. I think they've got so few possessions out there. I know that I would be if I was out there. You've just got this one little bag, that's all you've got to your name. I would be so protective of that. I would feel violated if somebody went through my bag like Danny went through. All in all, I'm enjoying the season. Caroline's obviously the personality, but even Jamie, I like her as well. And Matt and Franny, they're fun to watch as well. I think next week that Matt with the shoulder, there's something going to happen with him, whether he gets voted out or leaves on his own, or maybe the show tell him that he's got to go, because he can't be doing his shoulder any favours, keeping going without getting that treated. I guess that's it from me. Thanks so much, Joanne and Stacey, for the podcast. Sorry about umming and ahhing my way through this one. I've left it to the last moment again. Anyway, happy days, everyone. Bye.
Happy days. Thanks, Jill. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week. And let me just say, I went through quite a bit of emotions there as the episode continued on, because once I saw which tribe was going to Tribal Council, I was like, oh, great. I'm either going to get a vote-off point because I had Josh, or I would be losing my USB. Well, we all know that worked out. I lost my USB. Ah, man, so frustrating. But hey, what are you going to do? The writing was on the wall for Sarah, unfortunately. And of course, with her departure, that means that the inheritance advantage is gone. But I'm with you. I think that that advantage will definitely be coming back into play before we know it, because they're not going to give up on it just yet. So, but yeah, I hate to see Sarah go. She definitely had a lot of potential, obviously, which many of us felt that way. Obviously, 26 of us, I think you guys said, that picked her to be their winner pick. So at least now I've got the long wait of deciding who will be my replacement pick. So I am still not there yet, because honestly, you guys, I don't know who's going to win this. Of course, it's still early, so I shouldn't be downing myself too much. But anyway, so yeah, a very entertaining episode. What was it I was going to add? So I have to admit, I'm very surprised that the stick thing worked for Carolyn. That was a little bit shocking. I'm also on the camp of, do we really need to keep lying about our occupation? I don't really get that. Maybe if you're a lawyer, I could sort of understand that, but a surgeon? Really, buddy? You really think people are going to be worried about you because you're a surgeon? They're going to be more worried about the fact that you're lying, Josh. That's the thing you need to worry about, buddy, that you're lying about something. Listen, this whole game is full of a lot of lying, but unnecessary lying is never a good idea. So anyway, I don't know. I just thought I would throw that in there. Well, obviously, as you could probably tell from my rambling, I really don't have anything really positive to add about this episode. I do agree that all these shenanigans that Survivor continues to do does kind of annoy me a little bit, because you're right. It takes away from all that camp time that we appreciate the most. But I do think this twist that they did this week, it's fine. It's fine. If it comes back, that's fine. I think that Jeff said on his podcast the last time he did was Africa. Does that sound right? Where they just did one person from each tribe swap? If it comes back, that's fine. All right, well, that's it for me. My prediction for next week is, I know you guys think that Josh is in a good position, but I think Jam and Carolyn are going to get back together again, and I think Josh will be our vote-out person for next week. At least that's what I'm going with at the moment. All right, well, that's it for me. You guys take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. What if Josh decides, I think this week I'll align with Jam? It flips the script. He could just go back and forth as they whittle down to
if he did that,
a one-person
then they
tribe.
probably would pull together and vote him off.
Well, they wouldn't get a chance if he's able to pull it off.
Though I think the reason Josh thought he needed to lie about his profession was that he could totally see, if it's him and two other people and they know he's a surgeon, people will not vote him as sole survivor, because they're like, he's got plenty of money. This person or that person need it more than he would need it. He can make a lot of money as a surgeon, and I think that's all he was focused on. He didn't realize that he wasn't as good a liar as he thought.
Yeah, that's where he stumbled.
And especially if you got the symbol on your back.
Yeah. Would you, if you had failed to get into medical school the way he lied when he was telling his story, would you really go to that?
Why would you put that on your back?
In a place where it's obviously going to hurt quite a bit to get it. So, yeah. Another thing Jeremiah reminded me of, Sarah mentioned that she was not currently in possession of the inheritance advantage or the fake idol, that they collected both of those. So, yes, I definitely think we'll see the inheritance advantage. Again, she thought she might get them back at the end of the season, but she wasn't sure about that. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I'm going to make this short and sweet. Did Carolyn accidentally hide the real idol and keep the fake by accident? Because one of them had a medallion coin on it. That's all for me. Bye, Felicia.
Thanks, Erin.
Yeah. As Stacy said, no, it was the fake idol, because Carolyn's real idol is the coin, and the beads were the fake ones. And now that is not so for every tribe.
Mike Bloom was the one who noticed that they were alternating like that. Yeah, between the tribes.
Yeah, the coin in one tribe is the real idol, and another tribe it's the fake idol.
Right.
So that's even more confusing.
Yeah, very challenging. This is the game from now on. This is the way.
Yep.
See that? See how I combined?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Erin.
Mandalorian. This is the way.
Thanks, Erin. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi everyone, this is Jen in California. Well, remember what I said last week about the hidden immunity idol fizzle that typically happens in Survivor seasons? Well, we just saw it happen. But ironically, it was with a fake immunity idol. Not only did it go out of the game without being played, but an advantage, as usual, also went out of the game without being played. Now, I know that some of us have high hopes for that inheritance advantage, but I never did. I don't have high hopes for it. I hope they don't re-hide it and have it be discovered again. I just think that one's a flop, so retire it, Survivor. Thank you in advance. I thought that Carolyn's idea of doing X marks the spot was amazing. And poor Sarah, I love all these red herrings. However, I don't like the fact that all of these idols are planted with real hidden immunity idol notes. I think that's foul play. I think it's one thing to let somebody just assume that it's a hidden immunity idol, but if you're putting a note with it that makes it seem authentic, no, I think that there's a little loophole there in the rules that might be able to be exploited by upset players. I don't know. The strongest reaction I had in this episode, though, was when Carolyn's tribe was encouraging her and saying, "Don't give up." And she stopped and yelled in an exasperating voice, "I'm not." I think that really competitive people, when they hear somebody yell, "Don't give up," it just makes them, to use a Jeff Probst term, dig deep. It makes them dig deep and give their best effort and know that people are behind them, supporting them. But people who just stop and yell, "I know," I feel like they're the ones that kind of tend to give up easily in life. It sounds kind of judgy to me, but I'm a very competitive person, and I would never be exasperated by somebody yelling, "Don't give up." I would think, it would be motivating, but I felt like it was more exasperating to Carolyn. Anyway, you can't have that mentality and expect to succeed, so I think Carolyn needs to think more positively if she's going to continue to do well in this game, and I think she is doing well in this game. She needs to pick her head up and see the good that she's doing. I kind of liked the Shipwheel Island twist this week. I like the fact that we returned to the Survivor China swap one player. Or I think Survivor China swapped two players, but just swapping a minority of players into a different tribe, I like that. When Matthew and Carson were talking, I think Matthew is a smooth talker, but I don't know if I would trust him. He's not the kind of personality that I would trust. I don't feel like he's being very authentic, and I think I would have sniffed that out. And finally, at Tribal Council, the whole "Bye, Felicia" talk going back and forth, and Carolyn saying, "I'm Felicia," that cracked me up. I loved that. Anyway, that's it for me. Time has just flown. I think I lectured too much on Carolyn and being more positive. Anyway, can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Till next week, bye.
Thanks, Jen.
I still feel bad from Aaron from China.
Oh,
season.
yeah. Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that just...
A-A-R-O-N.
Yeah. He just got really screwed.
Yeah. That's
just all there is to it.
That was the label for it.
That
screwed.
killed his game. He was doing so well, and he's never played again.
Yeah.
That always, and still bothers me.
Yep, that was what we immediately thought of, wasn't it? I agree with Jen.
That I even remember his name.
Yeah, I agree with Jen. Matthew's got a shady vibe. I get that too when I'm watching him talk. One other thing that Sarah shared about the inheritance advantage was that she had planned to use it when she played, if and when she played the idol, which she didn't know was fake. That was her first thought. This is how to make the most of this, is I'll play my idol, I'll play my inheritance advantage, I'll get my idol back. She called it like a boomerang play. And so that was what she had in mind for that. Good deal. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. And first off, I have to say that all things considered, Carolyn had a good episode. Kane and Lauren, though, perhaps not so much. I mean, when a great swordsman has to crawl across a balance beam on his hands and knees, well, it makes an impression in all the wrong ways. But I did feel for Lauren after she took that belly flop because, man, that had to hurt. Anyway, I guess the bloom is off the Carolyn and Jam Jam rose. I'm actually shocked because I tend to think that those two have more in common than Jam Jam may want to admit. But then again, that could be why there is a problem. Carolyn is almost abrasive to me. She's maniacal in everything she does, but I don't think that she's stupid. She's certainly self-aware. Prick her and she will bleed, as Jam Jam has found out. What shocked me most, though, was that Jam seemed to be connecting more with Sarah in this episode, even though she was supposed to be the enemy. They say there's nothing worse than a woman scorned, but when that woman is Carolyn, look out. And as for the challenge, I'm not sure that jumping up and down on the puzzle pieces is really the way to go when trying to assemble it. Also, Brandyn, he makes me feel inferior as a man. I play the piano too, but I don't have that kind of body definition. It's just not fair. And I'm liking Heidi a lot, and I think I may have had her as first to go, and I feel badly about that now. And Danny, wow, I never know what to make of him. After this episode, I think it's safe to say that he's very spontaneous because he searched Jamie's bag without even blinking a lash. It was sort of surprising to me, and I think he's going to burn out after the merge. And then there's Josh, who is indeed in a better position after the swap, but only marginally. I hope he's able to become more aware. Each time he said he was a swing vote, I cringed because, as we know, swing votes often come with a target for your back. Oh, and I have to say that I'm impressed at how the players know the names of the players on the opposing tribes. It used to take me ages to get the names down, but listening to the Japik episodes and working on the roster sure helps me. Okay, so next to be voted off will most likely be Jam Jam. I think it's disco time for him, and his goose is cooked. And, I'm honestly anxious to see how he acts throughout this next episode because it will really affect how I remember him. We've seen just how highly he thinks of himself, and if he uses his self-inflated value as a bargaining chip for keeping him, well, then he's toast. He's already on shaky ground with me, and if he digs his hole deeper in this next episode, then I'll just end up writing him off and probably forget him by the time season, let's say, 46 rolls around. However, I sort of suspect that this next episode will end poorly for us, because I'm worried that Matthew will leave on medical and we're going to end up skipping a tribal council. At least that's what the numbers would dictate if Matthew is pulled from the game or quits. I hope that scene was just a red herring, though. And there you have it. I guess that's it for me. Everyone take care and enjoy the next episode. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. I'm hoping that's a red herring, too, but I just feel strongly like
Yeah, you have all along, and I'm afraid that could happen as well.
I liked your response, though.
What was it?
You're very mad at him for doing that to himself.
I am. It comes up every time. I really think Matthew could have been a wonderful player if he wasn't so injured. All indications
suggest so.
Showing what we've seen so far, and that we're not going to get to see that. He cheated us out of that because of his recklessness.
Poor impulse control.
And I like him, and yet really I'm still mad at him.
Yeah.
I haven't. It's just there.
Not getting to see his full potential. Yeah.
Yes. And that he did it himself. From what I would probably say, just pure stupidity.
That's the reason why I picked him.
Judgmental girl.
I picked him not to make the merge because him and Maddie both seem to have issues with impulse control in the preseason assessment, and I
can't remember if I did or not. I don't know. I'll have to check now that you mention it. But anyway, it's I feel bad for him and mad at him at the exact same time.
Yeah, I guess it's possible we could end up with an episode where they don't. Do you think they'll not do the immunity challenge?
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible. The preview said that there's 3 people going on another journey. So they have shown a reward challenge in the photos, and the press release was that there would be 3 people chosen for another journey, but hopefully it's something different this time. I don't think they do the same thing
forced
2 times in a row.
Right.
But
they've been mixing it up, so that it would seem to track that way.
You know that those people are going to select somebody with that in mind, wouldn't you?
Oh, you think they'll be more cautious?
Oh, yeah. It's like, no, I don't want to go. Unless they think they're the next up. Then they're like, I want to go.
I want to see if Lauren works her magic and decides to go again, if she rigs it.
But if it's the same thing and the winning tribe is the tribe that decides for all three tribes.
Oh, yeah.
Then that's going to be different, because who do they want out?
Yeah, who's going to go to Forced Choice Island, the FCI this next week in week 5?
I like that. Forced Choice Island.
It's kind of hard to say, though. It doesn't roll off the
No,
tongue.
it doesn't.
I need something better. Okay, I'll noodle on
works.
that. Yeah, FCI, yep.
Oh, yeah, FCI.
I don't know where you're going with the other
Well, I guess that didn't work.
Oh, we want to say a big thanks to everybody who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions, be a part of this listener feedback show today. We enjoyed it, and we appreciate hearing from all of you. What are you laughing about?
Oh, nothing. Just me. If you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 5 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who will still be safe at the end of the episode. So, for instance, if Matthew goes out on a medical and you put him safe, you lose a safe point.
Tricky.
If he gets voted out, so there's a dilemma there. Do you take a chance? Do you not?
Yeah. And you have to always be managing your save points.
That's true.
Don't want to get to the end of the season and have run out on some of the castaways that are still in the game.
Yep.
If you would like to join us in the next listener feedback show, you who didn't participate this week, we would like to invite you to call, and we want the people who did coming back too, but we want you to call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547 or toll-free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and attach it to an email or type it up in an email and send it to us, and we'll read it into the show on your behalf. That's Joanne and Stacy Show at gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range.
All right. Have we covered it all? Anything else you want to say?
Did you want to make a prediction? Who's going? If it's not Matthew on a medical, who is it?
I'm going to have to go with Jam Jam.
Yes. It seems to be most in jeopardy. That could just be the recency bias, but that's certainly a possibility. I have to admit, I am still very worried for my USB Matt. I do not think he's out of the woods. He's caught some huge breaks, and Danny may have given him a favor now that people think that he has a hidden immunity idol, and we haven't seen Franny share with him that Claire told her that Matt's idol was fake. But I'm still, and I don't know how much cover Jamie gives him either, because like you said, she's most likely to play the time-limited idol if she needs to. Now, do you think we're going to see him end up on one beach at the end of this episode? Like if Matthew goes out on a medical early, do you think they'll throw them together all on one beach as part of this?
You had said they don't normally do it that soon when there was only 18 players. But they could, absolutely, because if Matthew leaves, there's only 12 people.
Yeah, that could be an interesting aspect.
They could.
So that could be a way to manage the time. If there's not an immunity challenge, then it could be they come together and some tribe time there after the people get back from Forced Choice Island.
Merge, no merge. They could do the challenge that if you win, you got half the people got the buffs and half the people didn't.
No. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about them being all together on one island.
Oh, okay.
It's before the merge.
Well, that's an idea.
Yeah.
We'll find out on Wednesday.
All right. Have a good one.